Alright guys, welcome to my week 7 video. This week I will be demonstrating basically what it is I do for a living. I work for a medical technologies company. I do data integration and implementation. I'm a software engineer by trade. I work primarily in RStudio with my programming. I do a lot of it. Our programming is a very specific language. It's designed for data visualization and integration and analytics. It's unlike a lot of the other languages out there. If there's any other computer science majors out here listening to this video, it's unlike a lot of the other ones. C#, C++, Java, JavaScript, HTML, anything like that. Those can be used a little more freely, and there's more options for those. R is pretty specific. It's pretty dead on to what I mean. You can't really create a cool little app with R like you can with C# or C++ or something like that. So I will try not to make this too boring and dry for those of you that aren't that interested in this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you basically what it is I do and create a little data visualization over here in my little window area over here. And it's going to basically be a workbook that I've downloaded off the internet, so I have some data to show you. And it's Mispriced Diamonds is the name of the data application that I've downloaded. And it is just an educational workbook that you can get from the internet. It's out there in the R archives. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull in the Excel file that I have here that is my data basically. So I will enter in the line of code here, and I can't spell, I'm sorry. So basically what this line of code is allowing me to choose what file it is I want, and I want the mispriced diamonds. It knows right where I want to go. So obviously I've done this once or twice in practice. So I have pulled in mispriced diamonds data. It is now inside my RStudio, and I can use that to do what it is I need it to do now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start writing out my line of writing out my lines of code that will allow me to make that data visual and put it over here. So ggplot is a line of code, or a little snippet of code that's basically telling my compiler here that I want to create a scatter plot. I want it to be not a bar graph or a pie graph or a line graph or anything like that, but scatter. And you're gonna see a large collection of dots scattered across the screen, and you'll see an x-axis and a y-axis, and there'll be a whole lot of black dots scattered all over the screen basically. So data equals my data. I'm just creating the data is the my data file that I pulled from here a moment ago, the Excel file. The ASE stands for aesthetics, which is basically the x-axis and the y-axis. So the x-axis is going to equal caret, because this is a file about diamonds. So the y-axis will equal price, and then I'm going to add in geopoint, and that's going to allow for the scatter plot to be created. Now that I've done this does take a minute, so I'll try to give you just a brief description of what it is. This is a workbook that I downloaded off the internet. It's Mispriced Diamonds. Basically, it's saying that depending on the size of the diamond, the clarity of the diamond, and the price of based on the carat and the clarity should determine the price. However, in this workbook, there are some that are high carat and high clarity, but for whatever reason have a low price. It's basically there was a mix-up is the story behind this particular workbook. And with the code that I'm writing in the little visualization that I'm creating, you'll be able to see where the mix-ups are. So it looks like it's popped up, and okay, so this is the beginning of it. This is a basic scatter plot. It's very basic. You'll see obviously large amounts of just black dots, nothing fancy or anything like that. So I'm gonna clean this up just a little bit here. and then create that. And then the next thing I'm going to do real quick is after price, actually, I'm going to add a little bit of color in there. So, I told you I couldn't spell. Okay, yeah. Equals clarity. So, clarity. Alright. So, I'm going to add color in there. That should create color on those plots. Again, it takes a second. It's a large file. There's 53,000 lines, I believe, in here, roughly. Yep, 53,925 lines. 53,945 lines, excuse me, of data. It's a pretty large file. All right, so, there we go. There is my color. So you'll see here is the price on the y-axis. Ranges from $0 to 5,000 to 10,000 to 15,000, so on. My x-axis is the caret, showing how big the diamond is. And then over here, adding the color and the clarity has actually created a legend. And you'll see the I1, the IF, the SI1, the SI2, and so on and so forth are basically designed by color here. And it's just the start of a bit of a visualization, and I'm going to go ahead and actually clean this up here in just a moment to make it a little more readable and a little more understanding, but you kind of get the basic idea. It's created the visualizations just a little bit, so make this a little bit bigger so it's a little easier to see, because I imagine it's kind of small on the screens. There, that should help. So I think what I'll do next is I got geom point here. I'm going to actually add alpha equals 0.1. Yep. And I'm going to rerun this. What that'll do is that'll help smooth it up a little bit. So again, Control Enter runs it. Again, and I apologize for the length of time that it takes for this to run. It just, look at that. Look at that. All right. So that smoothed it up a little bit. And it's getting there. We're not quite there yet, so, but it is a start. It does help kind of narrow it down and kind of define it a little bit. But everything over here, you'll notice, is the larger stuff. I mean, 5 carat, pretty expensive, and then smaller carat, smaller price. Obviously, a large amount of the data is down here in this. So, all right, now let's see my data. So there's my data, and then what we will do is create the open brackets, my data, $, caret, greater than 2.5. Yeah. And again, when I highlight this, like this right here, basically what that's allowing the compiler to understand is I only want to run this little section of code, nothing more, nothing less. If I were to just click down here and just run it, I would not only run this line of code right here, but I would also run this right here. So it would cause the select box to pop back open and prompt me to select the file again, and that's not what we're trying to do. So, all right, so this kind of narrowed it down to the less than 2.5 carats, ideally. So let's see, the last thing we need to do here is actually add geom smooth, and hopefully that will smooth it out very nicely and make it look even shinier. And I believe that's, hold on, there. Yeah, that looks right. All right, there we go. You'll notice it disappeared. When you type things into this little compiler, the first thing it does is it recognizes the changes and it starts to correct them. So, all right. Again, it's going to take a second to compile. I apologize for the lag in time. It's a large file, so it has a lot of data that it has to try to track down. I'm gonna There we go. All right. You saw just briefly it's loading. It's trying to catch up with itself. It's a little tricky. One moment. Looks like I may have missed something. This right here denotes that I've clearly missed something somewhere. Oh, nope, there it is. Wonder what that's about. All right, so this is it. This is smoothed out. This is with the plots all in place. And basically, and I wish I could make this bigger for you, but unfortunately I don't think that well, maybe I can. Nope, I don't think that I can make it bigger on this particular computer that I'm using. This is my personal computer. Basically anywhere that you see right here, the lines cross and get muddled is where there are price discrepancies. The diamonds are basically mispriced in these sections. So they've got some of the more expensive diamonds that are mispriced, and obviously quite a few of the less expensive diamonds that are mispriced. But basically that's what I do all day is I take data that's given to me that I pull off of servers and I put it into code and I use it to create visualizations, and that basically helps our end users to better understand their product and what it is that they're doing. So my job does obviously vary a little bit here and there depending on what it is I'm doing, but for the most part this is what I do. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm sorry for the lulls in between. It's just a little bit of a larger file. My computer's a little bit slower with that kind of stuff. So again, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, feel free to please reach out, and thank you guys.